everybody, and welcome to another Agile IT Tech Talk. I'm your host, Sean Spicer. Today's Tech Talk is a continuation of last week's. So last week's session was on modern access with Azure Active Directory, and we talked about SSO, SAML, enabling cross-tenant collaboration, all using Azure Active Directory. Today, we're going into part 2 of this session, and we're going to be going into how Azure AD makes admins more efficient, by allowing them to easily manage users, groups, and then dynamic groups, how this simplifies the end user experience for new hires or new members of a team, and then how it all comes together to reduce IT overhead and just generally make our lives easier. So, as always, we are in the Contoso demo tenant, and today we're going to create a new team to manage the development needs for the finance department. Troy Sun was recently hired to lead that team, and the Contoso admin is going to add Troy to Azure Active Directory, then create a dynamic group to allow only finance team members to automatically join that group. So in here, the source column indicates how Azure created each user account. And this is really important. If the source is local Active Directory, then Azure created that account by syncing upwards from an on-premise Active Directory. Now, the admin must manage these users in the on-premise directory. You can't manage them online in the console. It has to be on your on-premise directory. If the source is Azure Active Directory, then Azure created the account in the cloud. So right now, we're going to create a new user. And so the admin must create an account for every user who will access a Microsoft online service like Microsoft 365. And Azure AD supports adding 4 types of users: a new user in the organization, a user with an existing Microsoft account, a user in another Microsoft Azure AD directory, or users in a partner company. And that's what we were talking about last week with the cross-tenant federation collaboration. So the most basic role is user. Over here, we've got the directory role user, global administrator, or limited administrator. Let's see the password if you wanted to give that to somebody in a slip of paper. So Azure creates a temporary password for the user that will have to be changed on the user's first login. So let's go ahead and create. And now let's find him. There he is. So there's quite a few properties in here that can be managed and edit, ranging from blocking sign-ons that can be set automatically with things like Cloud App Security. But let's go ahead and edit this guy and get Troy set up. So first, let's set the usage location, which is going to be the United States. Then we're going to go ahead and give him a job title, so we know who he is. Let's go ahead and save. So admins can grant product license based on subscriptions already purchased by the organization. So let's look at that. So by specifying each user's location, specifying each user's location is required before a product license can be applied, since product service availability and experience may differ by country. So let's go ahead and assign. We'll look at products, and let's assign EMS. Go ahead and select and assignment options. So here you can see what the licensing options are. We want that across all of it. If you did want to get more granular, you could, but since the EMS E5 is a suite, let's go ahead and keep them all. We're going to go ahead and assign. So admins can also track Troy's activities using, including his sign-in attempts, application access, and device usage. So let's go and look at sign-in activity. And so here we can see the information that can be collected. We can look at audit logs. So when many users need to access the same application, organizations can use groups to assign the application to multiple users. Organizations can also use these groups to configure access management of other online services that control access to resources like SharePoint Online. So let's manage some groups. So here you can see the different group types. We've got distribution groups, office groups, and security groups. Right now we're going to create a new group. So if we're using Office 365, the distribution group and mail-enabled security groups are created and managed within the Exchange Admin Center display here. Group type, security. We're going to create an Office 365 group. We're going to go ahead and name it. We're going to change the membership type to a dynamic user. So Azure AD allows these dynamic group memberships, and dynamic groups run rules against user object attributes to automatically add and remove users from the group. So let's see what that's going to look like here. So here we've got our rules and add users where, and now we have all of these selections, but let's go ahead and go to job title and then get custom extension properties and contains. So when job title contains, and then since we gave him that job title, contains marketing, we're going to go ahead and add query. Now it's going to automatically add based on dynamic users that have marketing within that name. And then we create it. So now any user that meets those membership requirements will automatically become a member of the group and gain access to appropriate resources and privileges automatically. So yes, you can use this to assign licenses automatically. Here we've got the team name Marketing Stars. Let's go ahead and manage the members. So in a live environment, it may take a few minutes to see members in the group due to latency in processing the dynamic group query, because it runs in batches. So self-service password reset provides your users with the ability to reset their password with no administrator intervention when and where they need to. So we'll go to manage and password reset. So self-service password reset includes password change when someone knows their password but wants to change it to something new. Password reset when they can't sign in and they want to reset their password using one or more of the approved authentication methods. And account unlock, and that's when they can't sign in because their account is locked out and they want to unlock using one of the approved authentication methods. We've gone over a lot of use cases for this in past Tech Talks, so I think that's all pretty clear. So we're going to select the group. Let's search sales and marketing. Found it. Select. Save. And then we're going to set our authentication methods. So number of methods required to reset, you can set that as 1 or 2. Let's go ahead and set the methods that are available, email and mobile phone. If this is set to 2, it'll have to do both in order to go ahead and reactivate or reset that password. So these are the authentication methods that are going to be made available to the users. Are we going to require users to register when signing in? Yes, this is important if you are just rolling out MFA. It's set as a default, but if this is not set, you can cause difficulties for your users when setting that up. Number of days before users are asked to reconfirm their authentication information. This is basically how strict you want to be. So we'll make that a full year. I don't want to be very strict. It's a demo tenant. Okay, so now let's explore what this all looks like for the end user. So the next scenario, we're going to demonstrate the user-centered access panel. It's a one-stop shop to share applications and other resources through Azure AD. And we showed a little bit of what the user experience was last time, but this is going to show how Azure AD allows the organization to use familiar applications that are well integrated to allow for productivity and allow the users to get to them quickly. So if SSPR is enabled, you must select at least one of the following options for the authentication methods. Sometimes you hear these options referred to as gates. we highly recommend that you choose 2 or more authentication methods so your users have more flexibility in case they're unable to access one when they need it. For example, maybe their phone's dead, or perhaps they don't have access to their email for some other reason. So in this case, we're coming in as Isaiah, and we've already typed in the URL aka.ms sspr setup, which brought him to the above login. So it's texted the phone. We've gotten the authentication code via an SMS. That can also come in through the mobile authenticator app, email, a phone call, an office phone, so it can be a call into Teams, or through security questions. Yes, we want to stay signed in. It's always a silly question to me. So users can only reset their password if they have data present in the authentication methods that the administrator has enabled. So let's go ahead and re-enter the password. Sign in. The MFA code has been set. We've got the new one. We'll verify. Stay signed in again. All right. So now what it's doing is it's checking to make sure that the information is in there for the different authentication methods. So to make sure you can reset your password, we need to collect some info, and it's, of course, won't spam you. Now need to set up 2 of the options below, and it will give you your information. So this is the phone number where I'm going to get that SMS at. This is the email where I'm going to get authentication emails if I need those. So it looks good. And so now, this is the My Apps, which is this plugin up here. And let's look. Okay. So in this case, Isaiah's volunteered to join Contoso's testing team. The QA manager has sent an email invitation to join the Contoso Bug Basher security group. So that came from Patty Fernandez. Welcome to Bug Basher. And then welcome to the Contoso Bug Bashers team. Join the security group. So this opens the access panel at My Apps. He's already signed in. So this is a web-based portal that Isaiah uses to access as an end user with an organizational account in Azure AD. The AD administrator has granted Isaiah access to these. Some are internal and some are external, such as Twitter and Salesforce. You've got SaaS apps, custom apps, on-premise apps. You've got your Microsoft 365 apps, and then you've got some third-party Twitter. What do we got in here? Not a whole lot. Salesforce, but mostly everything in here is Office 365. Got some LinkedIn. So now over here we also have groups. So he's been asked to join the Bug Basher security group. So all he has to do is find the group and group sign in, join group. And we'll search for it. It looks like there's a lot of groups in here. There we go. So now we found our Bug Bashers group. We're going to go ahead and join the group. Business justification. Now, when we went through the tech talk with Conrad talking about just in time and just enough access, we did talk about these business justifications. These are great. This is also used for if you have just in time global admin access. And now you have to enter this business justification, and it's stored in the logs. So it's not outside somewhere, it's right within your access logs. So we're gonna go ahead and say why. The demo, it's a request. So the group has been set up to automatically accept these join requests. So your request has been auto approved. You are now a member of the group SSG Bug Bashers. However, it can also be configured to accept requests manually after the group owner has approved it. So let's see here. Go back to groups. So in those 2 steps, he's joined the group, and when he returns to the list of applications, he now has access to the applications that were added to that group. And we went over adding applications last week. So the new app that we've got is Browser Stack, which is an application that is used for testing across multiple browsers and browser versions for web applications, websites. That's here. So the browser stack application has been configured for MFA as an added security measure to verify the user, but Isaiah is automatically logged into the browser stack application using the shared account setup. So the first time that he does encounter this MFA, he's required to verify his alternate contact info. Once set up, pardon me, his phone or authenticator app will alert him to respond to the MFA challenge. So Contoso in this case is also using Office 365 applications, and since Isaiah is licensed to use them, they all display on his access panel. There's no reason for anybody to go in and automatically provision. When he clicks a title for an Office 365 app, pardon me, he is restricted or redirected to that application and automatically signed in. Let's go ahead and look at SharePoint here. Now it's going to check the account. This is interesting if you do have multiple accounts and multiple tenants, or if you're using a common browser between your personal Microsoft account as well as your business Microsoft account. Again, of course I want to stay signed in. All right. So up here we've got the app launcher. So notice the waffle. And up here, you're able to see all of your Office 365 and Azure Active Directory integrated applications. So you can place any app you want in here. So these are generally your most used. It defaults to Office 365. Once you've been in the tenant for a while, your recent documents will show up, making that much faster. One pro tip is you can right-click on your tabs and pin them for things like Outlook or Teams that you want to keep up in your browser window all the time. And if you are opening OneNote, and I believe Excel sometimes does it, it will open in the tab you're in. If you click Control, it'll automatically open up in a new tab. Since we've moved remote, I've been working between a Surface, which is domain joined, has all of my desktop applications, but just out of comfort, I'm also working on my home video editing studio where I do almost everything through the web apps. So let's go ahead, and from here we can look at all of the apps we have access to and what is assigned. Got quite a few in here. All right, so now we've seen how life is made easier for the end user, and I mean, it's always that balance between balancing security and productivity. But Azure AD Premium also offers that self-service password reset, group management, and app management. And now there's no need for users to make help desk phone calls, to provide a lot of information, to get a temporary password that's sent in an email or shared during the call in an unsecure way. So again, already here, we're going to go ahead. So self-password reset has a bunch of benefits. So some people estimate that support-assisted password reset is about 20% of an organization's IT spend. And users don't want to call the help desk and spend an hour on the phone every time they forget their password. So it's going to speed up and improve that end user experience. Password management really isn't the single largest help desk driver for most organizations, but this helps lower that help desk volume. And really, if you can get rid of any kind of mundane task for your IT staff, you want to. And the other benefit is it enables mobility. So users can reset their passwords from wherever they are, from whatever devices they're using. So in this case, Isaiah can perform self-service on his Azure AD account, which empowers him to get work done on the go without having to depend on the IT help desk, but still keeping his account secure. He can reset and change his own password, so if he ever goes on vacation and his password expires, he can reset it himself from anywhere. So in this case, we've forgotten the password. Got the capture image. Okay. And then how do we want to verify that? Let's go ahead and text my mobile phone. I'm going to put in the phone number. Now, this is interesting. In order to protect your account, we need you to enter your complete mobile phone number below. Now, I've got 3 separate phone numbers, so the final 2 there lets me know what it is, but this serves as its own pre-authentication. So you have to enter the correct phone number in order to even get that authentication. So somebody can't just come in and kind of password spray across everything and hope that they get lucky. I'm going to go ahead and text We're going to get that verification code sent to my phone. And then we can just go ahead and enter a new password. Again, it will require or can require strong passwords. You can set that otherwise. Please don't. Please just require strong passwords. And we're going to go ahead and confirm and finish. So self-service is an effective cost-cutting method that will really reduce your help desk calls. And this is something that we really push for our clients, whether it's management with Intune in order to deploy your images and applications to your devices, and really reducing as much of that IT overhead as possible. Because once you're able to move away from just managing the technology with patches, password resets, break fix, then you can start really focusing on the information. And that's where the true power of digital transformation lies. And by simplifying things using tools like Azure Active Directory, we really start to see IT become a real driver of business solutions instead of just being another cost center. So thank you very much for joining us. As a reminder, Agile IT Tech Talks are a benefit for our MSP and CSP clients, but we make these sessions available as a public service. These sessions are followed by a live QA for our clients where we dig deeper into specific applications of the technologies that we discuss. If you're watching on YouTube or reading along on our blog, feel free to ask questions in the comment section below. Give us a like and follow, please. Thanks again for joining and have a great week.